default page, and we're going to have a couple of options under here under application. So your application is what form we're going to use. You do have, if you have an AIA license, you will have access to these items. And then we have cost plus and generic owner bills down here. We're going to look at both of these today. I'm going to start off with cost plus. And then our schedule of values, what we want to look at for our schedule of values. So we've got our division with profit by cost code, and then we've got two custom items here that we can do. So I'm going to start off with division, and I'm going to do a separate profit line. So it's going to roll this up by division. You do have the option to open up any of these divisions you want to, and then it'll break down the cost codes. Just click on the hyperlink, and it's going to open this up. And if you open one up and you don't want to show that, you can break it down again by clicking this. So again, it just depends on what detail you want to show here. If you don't want to show these cost codes, it'll roll it up into general conditions. I'm going to leave this open for an example, and we're going to see how these work as well. Once you've got your schedule of values locked in, go to change schedule of values, or excuse me, lock schedule of values template. So now we have our form. Application date and the end date are going to be the same. The start date is when the project started. So we're going from the day that we created the project and got started until now. And it's going to capture everything in between there or anything that we haven't used in the past. You can change your work and material retainage. And then this payment by purchase order, if your owner, especially in a cost plus situation, has made any payments through purchase order, paid for anything for the subcontractor, you would enter that amount here, and then it's going to take away from that bill. Who we're going to distribute to this, owner, architect, contractor, and then we go down to our columns. So first with our description, again, we opened up the general conditions. So it's just going to show the title here, but then the numbers are going to be on each cost code. Concrete, we didn't break it down. So it's showing me the division, but it's not showing the cost code underneath. Our schedule of values, we've got our original amount. And also because we did this with a separate profit line, it's going to pull all our profit from here, and it's going to put it into our profit tab down at the bottom. If this was the second bill, or if we have made more than one set of changes, then it's going to show up in prior. And I'll pull up the change order in just a minute, and you're going to be able to see changes. So any change orders that we've had or any changes to the original budget are going to show up here. And then the revised amount is the original versus the changes. I'm going to add a change order by going up to actions, add change order. And I can choose, I've only got one, but if you have multiple, you can click the drop down and you can choose which ones to add. And another thing about the difference between the cost plus and the generic owner bill is how they handle the cost, the change orders. So as in this example, it's just going to create a division, a new division. The original was 0 because we added it. And then this is the revised amount, or excuse me, this is the changed amount based on a change order. And then we'll be able to click on this revised, and it's going to show me site work. The original amount was 0 and it came from a change order. Here's my cost code. And this is the total for that. Again, I can click on any of these hyperlinks and revised, and it's just going to tell me where it came from. If I have something like concrete and it's rolled up, it's not going to give me the breakdown. It's just going to tell me the total for that division. The next is on previous apps. So again, if this was a second app and we had already charged a certain amount, it's going to include that price in here. Work in progress. We have an owner pay column and a to pay column. So again, the owner in a cost plus may pay for purchase orders, may send out, pay for some of the bills, and you would enter that amount here. And then to pay is what we're billing the owner for. So in this column, this is where we're going to show some of our expenses, our purchase orders, any sub bills are going to show up, and it's going to show up as a hyperlink like this. So if I click this hyperlink, it's going to give me some information about this, what it is. So this is a field purchase order. This is the cost code it's going against, the amount, the date. And let me show you, if I click to remove this, you can save this and send it on another app. If you go into a project, or if you go into like a second application, you may have something here because you chose not to use it the first time. You'll have this number 1, so it's always going to remind you if you've got projects that are not included, or project costs that are not included. What you can do in that case, when you see that number 1, is go in and add this, and it's going to show up again. So it popped up down here, and there's nothing in the project cost not included. Now from here, we can make the adjustment amount. All we're telling you is that we do have a field purchase order for $100. If you wanted to make it less, you can add a negative number. It'll change this. Or you can add a positive number and change that as well. I'm going to leave it alone. So that was a field purchase order. We have these other hyperlinks as well, so we can click this and get more information. This is an expense I had on the 28th for rough carpentry. Again, you can make your adjustment. Thinking about it. And this is our purchase order. So we had a purchase order of 1098, this date on this cost code. So any expenses that you've got that have already been submitted in the system and accepted by your accountant are going to show up for your owner billing. Now we can just put amounts in here because we don't have anything charged against this cost. Once we change this number, it's going to affect the total and the completion percentage over here. So there's a lot to calculate for you. You can do the same over here if you've just got a certain percentage of this project you're ready to charge against. You can put the percentage in, and it's going to calculate these numbers for you. It will not calculate stored material for you, but you can add that. That is a cost. Again, it'll change the completion percentage, and it's going to show you some numbers over here. So, for example, below, this is all zeros because we don't have anything added. Once we start adding numbers, it's going to calculate our retainage. And if you click on the hyperlink, it's going to show you where that came from. So we got 183 based on the 5%, and then this based on 6.5% of our stored material. Now, again, the change order for site work, because it's cost plus, is just going to show up here in the top. And same thing with this, you can charge a certain amount for your change order. Just put a percentage in. It'll calculate the rest of this for you. We're going to create this app. Let me put a couple more numbers on here. All right, and then we've got our totals here. Again, we already added a change order into it. We've already seen what our purchase orders and expenses are. We can choose to send this out to our owner by clicking this box. And we've got the option to print this. We'll look at it in just a second. We can sign this now, and we can add an attachment as well from the actions button. I'm going to go to print, and we have a couple of options here. We can just print the bill and see what that looks like, or we can do it with the lien release. And I'll show you that one. So we've got our form with our information. It tells us the original sum, change order, and then how that changed the total price. Total completed and stored. This is the total that we're charging, or that we're requesting for sending out to the owner. And then you have our retainage here that we looked at, total of that retainage, and then just the breakdown. Again, our change orders here. It's going to have our requested amount, Requested amount is the completed and stored minus the retainage. So that's why this number and this number are different, because of the 457 right here. Scroll down. This is going to go to the owner as well. So this is why you may not want to break down the divisions. You may just want to roll it up into the division versus the cost code. You do have that option with the division, with the 2 division applications that were, schedule of values that we have. And then this is the breakdown, just like we had with the worksheet. Last thing is our waiver. And again, this will be sent out to the owner. Any questions so far? All right, we're going to keep going. I'm going to go back to the bill list. Another note about this: once you lock in the schedule of values and you actually send out an owner bill, and if the owner signs the owner bill, you're not going to be able to change the schedule of values. It's going to be the same all the way through. So whatever you choose on your first application is going to be the same way it looks for the remaining applications. I'm going to unlock this. And then I want to change my schedule of values template. This time we're going to go to a generic owner bill. And I'm going to show you the cost code. I'm going to show you the cost code with itemized markups. With cost code, it's broken down, and you do have the option anytime you see these little four arrows. If you need to move this around to change the order, you can do that to group them in a different way. Your labor, all your overhead items are going to be here at the bottom. Again, you can change this any way you'd like. Once you have changed that and you're satisfied, then you can lock the schedule of values up here. And we're going to have essentially the same worksheet. So we've got our application, start date, retainage, material, any payments made by the owner, and then who we're going to send this to. I'm going to go ahead and pull in my change order now. And we're going to see that the change order on the generic owner bill is going to be different than on the cost plus. So the change order here is added below the items. So just to show the different change. Again, we have the same items. We have got the hyperlinks in the work in place. So we can click on this. It's going to show me information about where this number came from. Field purchase order for dumpster rental on the 28th. Again, I can make adjustments here if I'd like to. And same thing, I can go in and just add a certain percentage, and it'll calculate these numbers for me. If I need to add stored material to that, I can do that as well. And then when I go to retainage, it's going to show me the breakdown of retainage. So I got $15 and $16, so 31. And I would continue moving through this, adding any items toward my owner bill. And then when I go to my change order, I can do the same thing. I can decide a percentage amount, or I can choose a specific work in place dollar amount. We'll just add a couple of these. And again, the option to print and add an attachment. And I want to print this and show you what it looks like with the lien release. Maybe. There we go. So we've got our same worksheet at the top. It's going to tell me the contract, the change order, and then total of the completed. And again, the difference here is going to be the retainage. Then we've got some more information and the change order breakdown here. And we can see just like our worksheet, exactly where all this is coming from. So what we're charging, whether it be a completion percentage or amount, it's going to have that in there for me. And then our change order, how much we're charging against our change order. This is just a continuation with our grand totals here. And then of course our lien release. All right, I see there are no questions, so we're going to keep going. I'm going to go back and we're going to talk about a couple of these, a couple of different options. Change. All right, we're going to go back to cost plus. So we've talked about division and we saw the cost code with the itemized markups. The by division, again, it's just going to let you break it down if you want to and open up cost codes. If not, it's going to roll everything up into the division. Division with a separate profit line is going to take the profit amount out of your cost codes and out of each division and put it into a separate profit line. Same thing down here with cost codes. It's going to put this into a separate profit line and pull it from the individual cost codes into that profit. Cost code by itemized markup. Let's look at that one. Again, we could change the order. We've got all our items down here for our overhead and our breakdown. We're going to lock this schedule of values. Same worksheet, add this to the owner, and I'm going to add my change order. This is the cost plus worksheet, so it's going to show it right here in the line items. It's not going to separate it. It will show you this, but again, we'll see in the print that it's not breaking it down below the line items. It's including it here in the price change. And again, we can click on the hyperlink and it's going to show me that it was a change order for 9,000. And also we've still got our hyperlinks for field purchase orders, and expenses. I did not create a sub bill for this training today, but if you had sub bills, they would show up just like your field purchase orders do. So they would go in against any S cost code. You would see the highlight hyperlink and it would say sub bill on there. Let's go in and add a couple of items. 5%. And we'll print this again. Same worksheet. Here's our breakdown. Difference between the original and what we have now based on the change order. This is the amount that we pulled up in our worksheet minus the retainage is what we're asking for over here. And then it continues to break down and shows our change order specifically, totals. Our worksheet is by cost code. And then we've got our individual breakdowns here for our permit cost, labor burden, sales tax. Again, these are pulled out of the cost items and put down here. If you did this with just a cost code, you're going to see that these numbers are going to change. So instead of 1,200, it's going to be 18 something based on the markups that we have. And I'm not sure if I can pull that up, but I'm going to try. So this is cost plus. So here you can see the differences between the cost plus with breakdown of our overhead and then just the regular cost plus. So none of this is shown to the owner in the owner worksheet. It's just going to be rolled up here. So for example, we've got the original was 1,200, but here, because we've got all of our markups included in the price, it's going to be the 1,847. So that's how you have your options of what you want to send to the owner, how much detail you want to send to the owner, or how much detail you want to have in your applications. Still no questions? I'm going to go back and we're going to talk about the custom options that we have. All right, we're going to do cost plus first. And I'm going to show you the custom by cost item. Can spell. So you're going to have as many scheduled value item lines as you want. I'm going to do 3. Once you're good on your schedule of values, then we're going to start adding cost codes. So we've got our balance to distribute up here. That's a lot easier with the cost codes, but then when we show custom unrestricted, you got to make sure that it equals 0, and it won't let you lock the schedule of values until you do. Click the three icon over here. You've got the option to delete or assign cost codes. So it's going to pull up all my cost codes in each division. Now I've got choices here, just like we saw with the cost code normal and the cost code with separate profit and overhead. I can choose to include these as they are, or I can include it with the profit rolled up in this cost code. Now you'll see down here on the end, I've got this fee description. Right now it's 9,000 on this and it's 0 on this. So if I were to select all these items with profit, this would stay 0 because I would not have this item available. I wouldn't need it because everything is rolled up into these items. So I'm going to show you, we're going to go to, we're doing site remediation. We're going to add all these with profit. And I'm going to add my permit with profit. So this number is going down because only the remaining items, everything that I've locked in with profit is right here. I'm satisfied with these for this scheduled value item. I'm going to go to the next one, click done here. Same thing, click 3 buttons, assign cost codes. Again, I'm going to do these with profit. You can do this individually too. You don't have to add them all. For example, I want to do drywall here, but I want to save this for finishes. So I'll just click on this number. I'm good with that. And then I'm going to do my last item. So I've got my balance to distribute down to 0. Everything adds up here. And I'm going to lock this schedule of values. Same worksheet information. You can change this. We're going to send this to the owner. And we're going to include our change order. So I did not have this change order cost code, and it's added it separately with the amount. And it's pulled out my 10% fee. So you can see this is what the total of the cost order that we've been looking at is $10.99, the way it was rolled up. We've got the fee right here, and then our overhead as well. Again, with the cost code custom, you can pull in information about these cost code lines. So because I've got this line in my schedule of value for site remediation, I'll click on this. It's going to show me the cost code, dumpster rental, it's a field purchase order, and the amount and the date. So I'll still be able to pull in this information on the custom with cost codes. Same thing with sub bill. If it charged against the cost code that's in whatever schedule of values line, it'll pull there. So I've got my purchase order for doors right here. Again, I can add amounts. It'll calculate this for me. It's going to calculate retainage. Click on the hyperlink for retainage, and it's going to show me my 5 and 6.5 that I've selected up here and how much that actual dollar value is. Again, it does tell me about the change order, but that's not going to be a separate item. It's already included here. And let's take a look. Same worksheet, total amount, our change orders. 1280 is what we request. 1216 is the difference minus our retainage. We've got the breakdown here, and again, the change orders. And then it's going to show these lines just like you have it. So the site remediation is going to be just this division line broken down, no cost codes. Your change orders will have the cost code, and they'll show up. They'll continue to show up like this individually. And then the 10% fee associated with that cost code, with that change order. I see no questions for the custom by cost code, so we'll go back and do the custom unrestricted. Let's do this as a generic owner bill. We're going to do custom unrestricted. So this time we're just doing dollar amounts. We're not going to have the cost codes. And with the custom unrestricted, it's going to look very similar, but it's not going to pull in items like our purchase orders and our field purchase orders and expenses, because it doesn't have a line item or a cost code to actually charge those against when you do this in a schedule of values this way. Just going to use the same ones. So this time, again, instead of adding custom, or instead of adding cost codes like we would over here, we're only going to be able to delete these. And we're just putting dollar amounts in now. As we add this, our balance to distribute is going to change. And once we get to 0, we'll be able to lock our schedule of values. Again, if I didn't have this number to 0, it's not going to let me lock this schedule of values. We're going to lock this in. Same information. We're going to pull in a change order. This is the generic, it's not the cost plus, so it's not going to add it like it would have before, or like we saw in the last example. It's going to separate this down below. We're not going to have any hyperlinks about work in place because it doesn't know how to associate those because we didn't assign any cost codes to them. We can add a dollar amount. We can add our stored material amount. Again, that'll calculate under retainage, and we can put a hyperlink to see exactly how much. If I want to do just the percentage, notice the percentage is not going to go toward your stored material. It's just going to assume the percentage is only on work in place. And again, let's take a look at this. Same worksheet, same numbers here. 31, but it's 29, so the difference is the retainage. Again, our breakdown. When we go to the worksheet, it's just going to show our 3 scheduled value lines and then the change order here. This is good. I've had some clients who the owner wants it broken down in a certain way so that you can use these. And let's say, for example, we've got rough in and finishes. So we've got rough in and we bid electrical in there because we've got electrical rough in, but we've also got electrical and finish. So this is how you can split that. You're not having to do it by cost code item. You can just put a number in here and it would follow along with what your owner's schedule of values, what they want to see for the owner bill. All right, let's go back. So once you start getting owner bills and you actually send one out and send it for signature, or you actually sign it, then they'll start showing up here, and then you get your owner to sign and send back. So I want to go ahead and send one out. And I don't think this is going to mess up my training. So yeah, let me do that. Now what we're going to do is actually sign this. It's going to give me this warning. And I'm going to agree to it. So we're going to send this out to our accountant and let them notify the accountant that this has been done. The subject here, and I'm going to send this. Now when I go back to my bill list, still got these numbers, and I've got my GC signature right here. Got the option to import. If I get this back as a PDF and I wanted to get the owner's signature on it, for example, if the owner wants to separate notary, we can import this. It's going to open up my file manager. So I've got 2 options here. I can import the file, the bill itself, open up my file manager. If I've got my bill, I can pull that in. And it's going to show me the owner bill here. And this is going to fill in the owner signature for me. but the owner does have the option of doing this in their site. So let me delete this. Same thing with the info for the, or I'm sorry, the import the release file. If you've got a lien, you can click this, you can pull in the lien, and that would satisfy both those requirements. I want to exit out of this though. We've still got this item here, and I am going to check who my owner is. We're good to go there. No questions. I'm going to log out and I'm going to log into the owner site. So this is what your owner site looks like if you haven't seen this before. Your owner will be able to get a login and password. They can communicate you through here. They'll be able to do change orders. They can sign their contract, all these items. We're going to go to billing. Go down to my project. This is going to show up only for the projects that the owner is involved with, because this is a training site. Of course, we've got all of these, but it's only going to be the projects that the owner is involved with. And I'm not sure that's correct. Log back in. Okay, so when I showed you the example of importing, apparently I created the owner's signature here. It's not going to let me unsign my owner's signature. So you'll see that the GC date disappeared here because I was able to unsign that. You can unsign if it's something you've done internally, but you cannot unsign the owner's date or the owner's signature if it's a digital signature. So we would have to go into our support side to do that. But what I can do is create a new app. So on this one, we've got our schedule of values again. This is what we broke it down into. This is what we added on our previous app. And then we've still got the retainage numbers. And this calculation is what we added for completion of work complete. This is overall, but it's not what we're putting in our bill this time. Add some more numbers here. And then I can change an existing percentage. So I was at 25 before. I'm going to say I'm at 50% now. It's going to make those changes. So it's going to be very similar because it was 25 and I'm adding 25 this time to give me a total of 50. I'm going to sign this. And agree. Now when I go out to my bill list, it's going to show me I've got GC signature, but no owner signature. I'm going to lock this out. Go back into my owner. billing. And I'm running into problems there. All right, I'm gonna go back. Again, this is the one that I unsigned, so I'm going to sign this again, send this back out. I'm going to go to accounting. Okay, I forgot a very important step. So I did sign it, but this was just the project manager signing the bill. I did not approve this as an accountant. If I have a Dan's number for Colorado only as a notary, I can put that in here. I'm going to agree. And there we are, verified by our accountant. And into owner. And here we go, the one that I messed up on. So this is application 2 because I did approve this as the accountant. I did not approve application 1. I've got the option here for the owner contract A, signature B. I can view, sign, I can view the release. Look at the release. Go back to billing. And the view sign. So again, I can look at this, I can see the application, the breakdown, and then I've got actions up here. We can approve, respond, we can print this, print it with a lien. Our response is going to send an email back with whatever questions. Why is it only this much, or why is it this much? We're going to approve it. So it's going to show me my application. It's got the signature here. I can view, but the view sign has gone away. I'm going to log out of the owner, go back in as the project manager. My project. Going into billing. Now, application 2 is the one that I sent. So I've got my GC date, and because I did send it through the accountant this time correctly, I've got my notary date here as well. Has it been paid? No. When that is complete, the date paid and the amount paid are going to show up, and this will turn into a yes. We can click on this hyperlink, and I can add that information now if I have it. Then the options here are just to import or send an email. We can't delete this anymore. We can import if we want to, if we have a PDF that we wanted to put in this file over the digital signature, we can import, and we can send an email about it. I'm going to go approve this other one as well. So I'll go into accounting. Notary and approvals. If you're not a notary, your accounting is only going to say approvals here. It's not going to say notary, but because we are a combined notary accountant, that's why we have this option. Also, that's why we have the view notarized here. So again, I've already done application 2. I've only got application 1. If I wanted to select this out, certain projects, if I wanted to select notaries, also, if it's pending or if it's already been notarized, I can view those as well. That's why it's not showing me number 2, because it's only selecting the ones that are available that need to be processed. And then I do have a notary report here as well. And I can select a date range, and it'll give me a printout of all the items notarized. I'm going to go back, and I want to view notarize this other webinar. So again, I've got my signatures. Got my digital signature here of the project manager, and my digital signature here for the accountant. And then the worksheet. I can make edits from here. I can unsign. Response would be if the owner sent something back, or if I need to email the owner, I can do that and print. I'm going to show you edit. And it's going to pull this up right from here and show me, because I've already made the signature, or because I've already got the owner's signature on here, it's not going to let me make any changes. But I would be able to pull this up, and it's going to take me straight from the accounting into here instead of having to go back over to the billing. And I can go back to my bill list. I can go back into view notarize again. And I want to approve this. So again, Dan's number if you're in Colorado, agree. And when I refresh this screen, both the items for my webinar project have been taken care of. Last thing I'm going to do is go back into an owner's site. Billing, select my project. And now I've got both items that the owner can view and print, and they've got the release as well. So I did forget an important step there is you complete the billing as the project manager, and you're going to sign for it, but the accountant still needs to sign. And if you're going to do a digital notary, if you are authorized in your state to notarize digitally, then you'll complete it in that way. And then it will send it to the owner for their signature, and they can do it digitally in here, or they can send you a copy and you can import it like we did on the first one. I still don't see any questions, but that is it for us. I'll log out of here. Just a review. We're logged into our project. We'll go to billing, owner A. We've already locked in our schedule of values, and we've already completed an application. So it's going to continue to show us this. It's going to show us if we signed it, notary, and the owner's signature. To create a new application, I would go up to create bill. And then to pay off this application, I can click here and include this information. That is owner billing. We're going to close this webinar today. We appreciate your time. And we've got another webinar in 2 weeks. This is going to cover RFIs and meetings. If you are unsure, you can go to System Account, Learning Center. We've got our webinar recordings where this one will rest very soon. And then we've got our upcoming sessions. So our next one is actually scheduling daily logs. RFIs is one. So February 3rd, if you want to register for this next webinar, just click here and it's going to take you to the registration page. It'll add your information as you logged in. Complete this and register. And we hope to see you next time. Thank you and have a great day.